Throughout history, there have been diseases that would kill millions of people and devastate whole continents. One of the deadliest of these was the Bubonic Plague, also known as the Black Death. This disease was the third deadliest illness of all time, ruining families and taking over 1/3 of Europe's population within 5 years. We will show you everything that we know about it, such as where it occurred, how it happened, and the things that caused it. Social effects of the plague were felt immediately after the worst outbreaks petered out. Those who survived benefited from an extreme labor shortage. So servants once tied to the land now had a better choice of who to work for. Lords had to make conditions better or risk losing land, leading to overall wage increases. Not all the effects of the Black Plague were beneficial, however, with the plague building distrust in God and the church, which was already in poor standing due to recent political scandals, and grew as people realized that religion would not stop anything. So many priests died as well that church services in many areas simply ceased. Outbreaks continued not just for years, but for centuries. The survivors lived in constant fear of the plague's return, and the disease did not fully disappear until the 1600s.
The bubonic plague, or the Black Death, was caused by a bacterial strain known as Yersinia pestis, which, as far as we know, is found primarily on animals and be transmitted to people by the fleas that would carry the pathogen. Once the pathogen had infected a human, it would rapidly spread from person to person, destroying a devastating amount of people in very little time. Once infected, the person would start to experience pain in the abdomen and muscles and would feel chills and fatigue. They would experience nausea and diarrhea and would start to bleed when they would cough, and they would develop swollen lymph nodes growing to the size of chicken eggs.
When the bubonic plague was in its full outbreak, people thought that killing the rats would be the best idea. Killing them only made it worse because more insects came and infected the rat's carcass. The best way to prevent getting the bubonic plague was to get rid of any places that the rats might live, like garbage and sewage. There were many different types of treatments you had to take. Some of them included streptomycin, chloramphenicol, and tetracycline. Nowadays, we have a couple more that help today's day and age bubonic plague, which isn't nearly as bad as back then. Some of the medication includes gentamicin and doxycycline.
The Black Death was one of the most dangerous diseases in all of history, with one of the highest death counts. The plague bacteria had lain dormant for hundreds of years before incubating again in the 1320s in the Gobi Desert of Asia, from which it spread quickly in all directions in the blood of fleas that traveled with rodent hosts. Following very precisely the medieval trade routes from China through Central Asia and Turkey, the plague finally reached Italy in 1347 aboard a merchant ship whose crew had already died or been infected by the time it reached port. Densely populated Europe, which had seen a recent growth in the population of its cities, was a tinderbox for the disease. In England, people dubbed the plague the Black Death because of the black spots it produced on the skin.